Welcome back to the next part of the event report video tutorial series. I have modified the event report that we were using from a little bit earlier. I have placed Sankus back in the raid, removed his left early flag because we're pretending he hasn't left yet, and moved Umi back down into the raid force. So as we're going along, we're going to get loot along the way. So I've picked a couple of loot items that I will be pretending like we've gotten. So the first item that dropped was Hemorrhage Master 1. It's a Coercer Master. Now, the only person in our raid force that can use it is the Glorian, and he has said he would like the Master. So the easiest way to record that, and he has enough points for it, not that that mattered too much. So the easiest way to record that is to open up the thing and click on the picture. When you click on the picture, one of your chat windows will have Hemorrhage Master 1 link in there. So what I do is I select after the Hemorrhage Master 1, hold down my Shift key, and use my left arrow key to highlight that one item. Then I hit Control C to copy that. I'll come down to a Glorian and poke on the loot button next to a Glorian's name. And I will add it to this list here. I'm going to select in this window here the loot method and hit paste. Since this is a fabled item, it is a master. The loot price is 12 DKP. He has enough DKP or Team Red points to spend that price. So I'm going to select this and type 12 and make this a purchase. So he's purchasing that master for 12 DKP or points. Then I'll hit create. So it's going to take me back to the event report. Notice it says there's a checksum error. The report is out of balance by 12 Team Red points. That's because we just took points away from a Glorian, but we haven't given it back to the raid force yet. So I'm going to scroll down and I'll see Hemorrhage Master 1 has been assigned to a Glorian in loots and purchases. Now when we take away 12 points for somebody, when somebody purchases something for 12 points, we will give the player back, everybody in the raid force, 5 points back. So we're going to go ahead and do this while we're here. So I press that player plus 5. I'm going to go back there and make sure you can see it. I poke the button that says player plus 5, 0.5 rather. It's going to bring me to the mass manipulate flags. And then I'll just poke execute. And you can see I no longer have the yellow banner saying that there's a problem. And I scroll down, and you really can't see much of what's different, with the exception of a Glorian now has less points than he started from before. So one way to actually see that is to come up here to the details button and poke the details button. When I'm leading a raid force and recording loot, I generally always have the detail button selected. And so I can come down here and look, and everybody has received this 0.05 DKP in the raid force.
I think all this stuff is relevant, but there is some...
We also have the came late flag of Linnea, which doesn't earn or take away points, but it takes away things in the future. So now Sankus had to leave. It's back to our same thing. Sankus had to leave, so I'm going to mark him as non-present. And then I am going to give him a late flag. One way to give him a late flag is through this add flags thing, which I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to say add flags. I'm going to drop down and look for the left early flag, which is right here. I'm going to select left early and say add that flag. And once I'm done, I can go ahead and say done. And that records the fact that Sankus has left early. I can show you by clicking the detail button again, and we'll see that Sankus now has that column checked here. But I like the details button, so I'm going to go ahead and put that back. So I'm going to go back to details. Now, since Sankus left, we're going to go back down and add Umi back to the event report. Notice Umi is at the bottom, but he wasn't before. I was just too lazy to move him back. So I'm going to unqueue Umi and make sure he is marked as present on the event. That's very important, that whoever is there has that green column selected. Now notice Umi does not have any purchase points here whatsoever, because he was just added to the raid force. So we continue. We get a really nice drop. The drop happens to be the razor sharp scepter. Obviously the monster forgot to repair last time he was actually doing this because it's at 40%, but we won't look there. So there's a lot of scouts in on the razor scepter. So let's go see who was in. We have Thoror at 20.5. We have Theodora at 12. We have let's say those are the only person that put in for it. So between Thoror and Theodora, it looks like Thoror wins because he has 20.5 DKP. So I'm going to go ahead and poke the loot button. And again, I'm going to take the razor sharp scepter, click on the image, which has placed the razor sharp saber in my chat bar here. I'm going to click behind it, hold the shift button down and hit the left arrow to select. I'm going to control C to copy, and I'll probably just want to delete those. And then I'll go back to my event report and I'll create a new item here for that. So I'm going to paste the thing, that's the razor sharp scepter, and I'm going to mark it as a fabled item because it is a fabled item. It is a weapon, but note he does not have 24 DKP. So what you should do is, instead of marking it as a purchase, it has to be marked as a bank, because we're going to revoke his DKP that he has, whatever remainder DKP that he has for that item. So I'm going to go ahead and put 20.5, which is his balance, and then hit create. And you can see the method up here is bank 20.5. We'll scroll down and look at Thoror, and notice his current balance is at 0. And we have 20.5 here in the raid as a bank adjustment in the flag. There's a corresponding bank adjustment here at the bank. Alright, so we had another item drop. Again, the monsters were not thing. It's chain armor. It's usable by all people that can use chain. So this time we have Agora in on the item. So Agora wins the item. Congrats, Agora. Actually, I don't want Agora. Carcax is going to win the item because that's a really nice item for Carcax. So he put in late after Agora. So I'm going to loot for Carcax. I click on the image. I shift, arrow, copy. Actually, I cut that time. And then for Carcax, I'm going to hit the loot button. Find my button here. I'm going to move my window back here. And say paste. This is a fabled. Spalders, it's gear. It is a purchase, and he has the 24 DKP for it. So I create that item, and then notice I'm out of balance by 24. So I come back down here, and since I took the loot away from the points away from him, I have to give it back to the raid force. So I use player +1. I poke on that. And I poke on execute. And this will give us a fabled loot for 0.1, or 1.0. Our thing is now in proper balance. And let's scroll down to see what happened in the raid force. We now have a new fabled purchase for 1.0. Carcax's balance was deducted. If you hover over the tooltip, you can see that his balance was 61, but he had a purchase of 24, which makes his balance 37.5. So I'll scroll down, and let's look at Sankus and Yumi. Since Sankus was not marked present, Sankus did not get the fabled purchase flag. His DKP is properly set at 0.5 for this report. Since Yumi was marked as present, he has been given the fabled purchase flag. Let the system work for you. It's a pain in the rear end to track who's been present, who's not present, when someone looted, when someone didn't loot. If you record along the way, it helps out tremendously. If you can get somebody else to record along the way, that helps even more. Have the raid leader not recording loot. That is always a possibility. So that is the loot thing. Well, the next one, we'll talk about bank distributions and stuff. So we'll see you back in just momentarily.